Hello my friends. Welcome back to Storyline English. I am so happy you are here with me today. Find a quiet place. Take a slow, deep breath. And let this story carry you to another time. Imagine a young girl, only 15 years old. She is traveling across a frozen country in a cold carriage. The snow falls outside. The wind is sharp. She does not speak the language of this land. She does not know its people. She is far, far from home. She is going to a strange palace to marry a man she has never met. She is afraid. But inside her heart there is something powerful. There is a quiet fire, and that fire will one day make her the most powerful woman in the world. Her name was Catherine. And one day, history would call her Catherine the Great. If you enjoy learning English through stories like this one, please subscribe to Storyline English. Your subscription helps us bring you more beautiful stories for your English journey. It costs you nothing, and it means everything to us. But first, you must understand something about her world. In the year 1729, Europe was a place of kings and queens, of grand palaces and small kingdoms. Royal families did not marry for love, they married for power. They married to build alliances between countries. An alliance is an agreement between two sides to help each other. A princess was like a key. Her marriage could open the door to a throne. Remember this, because it explains everything that follows. Catherine was not born in Russia. She was not even born Russian. She was born in a small German town, in a quiet corner of the Kingdom of Prussia. Her birth name was Sophie. She was a princess, yes, but her family was neither rich nor famous. Her father was a minor prince. Her mother was ambitious and often cold. Their little kingdom was small and forgotten. Nobody expected this girl to become important. Nobody imagined she would one day redraw the map of Europe. Her childhood was ordinary. She played, she studied, she dreamed, like any other child. There was no sign written in the stars to say that this girl would become a legend. And that, perhaps, is the most important part of all. Greatness did not find Catherine in her cradle. She walked toward it, one decision at a time. But Sophie was clever. She was curious. From a young age she loved books. She loved ideas. She asked questions that surprised the adults around her. She watched people carefully. She learned how they thought. She learned what they wanted. This quiet skill, the art of reading the hearts of others, would one day become her sharpest weapon. When Sophie was 15, an invitation arrived. It came from Russia, from the most powerful woman in the East, the Empress Elizabeth. Elizabeth had no children of her own. She had chosen a nephew to rule after her. His name was Peter. And now Elizabeth was searching across all of Europe for a wife for him. She studied many princesses, and in the end, she chose Sophie. So Sophie and her mother began the long journey east. They traveled for weeks across snow and ice, into a country that seemed endless. And when at last she arrived in Russia, Sophie made a decision. A decision that would shape her entire life. She decided that she would not remain a foreigner. She would become Russian. More Russian, even, than the Russians themselves. This is the part of the story I most want you to hear, my friend. Because it is the part that speaks to you and to me. Sophie did not speak Russian. Not a single word. The language was completely new to her, the letters looked strange. The sounds felt impossible. For most people, this would be a wall too high to climb. But Sophie did not see a wall. She saw a door. She found a teacher. She studied every day. And she did not stop at her lessons. At night, when the palace was dark and silent, Sophie would slip out of her warm bed. She would walk barefoot across the freezing stone floor, whispering Russian words again and again into the cold air. She practiced so hard, so late into the night, that she became seriously ill. She caught a dangerous fever, and she very nearly died. Think about that for a moment. She almost gave her life simply to learn a language. Why? Because she understood a deep and powerful truth. She understood that to win the hearts of a people, you must speak to them in their own words. A language is not only words. A language is a key to the very soul of a nation. And here is the wonder of it. Catherine was never the most beautiful woman at court. She was never the richest. She had no powerful family standing behind her. But she had her mind, and she had her tongue. She learned to speak so that an entire nation would one day listen. That single choice, the choice to truly learn the language of her new home, would carry her further than beauty or gold ever could. Sophie also changed her religion. She left the faith of her childhood and joined the Russian Orthodox Church. And she took a new name, a Russian name. From that day, she was no longer Sophie. She was Yekaterina. In English, we say Catherine. The Russian people watched this young foreign girl. They saw her pray in their church. They heard her speak their language. They saw her embrace their customs as her own. And slowly, quietly, they began to love her. In 1745, Catherine married Peter. She was 16 years old. The wedding was magnificent, full of gold and music and celebration. But behind the dazzling ceremony lay a sad truth. The marriage was unhappy from the very beginning. Peter was a strange and difficult man. He was childish, and he could be cruel. He loved his toy soldiers more than he loved real people. He admired the enemies of Russia, and he often insulted the country he was meant to rule. He drank too much. He mocked his young wife in front of others. He had little interest in her, and little interest in the empire that awaited him. Catherine was lonely. Terribly lonely. Imagine being so young, so far from home, married to a man who did not care for you, surrounded by people who watched your every move and reported your every word. Many young women would have broken under such a weight. But Catherine did something remarkable. She turned her loneliness into power. How did she do it? She read. She read everything she could find. She filled the long, empty hours with books. She studied history. She studied law. She studied the wisdom of the past. She read the greatest thinkers of her age, brilliant French writers such as Voltaire and Montesquieu and Diderot. These men belonged to a great movement of ideas called the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment was a time when thinkers across Europe argued that reason, knowledge, and education could make the world better, and that even kings and queens should rule with wisdom and justice. Catherine fell in love with these ideas. She even began to write letters to these famous philosophers. Imagine a lonely young wife in a cold palace, exchanging letters with the most luminous minds in Europe. While her husband played with his toys, Catherine was building something far more dangerous. She was building a mind. She was preparing herself, quietly and patiently, for a destiny she could already feel approaching. For 18 long years she waited in the shadow of the throne. 18 years of patience. 18 years of learning. She did not waste a single one of them. She watched how power truly worked. She learned who could be trusted and who could not. She studied the country she would one day rule as carefully as she had once studied its language. Time, for Catherine, was never empty. It was always preparation. In January 1762, the old Empress Elizabeth died. And everything changed. Peter became the new emperor. He was now Peter III, ruler of all Russia. And Catherine became his empress. But Peter was a disaster. Almost at once, he began to make terrible mistakes. Russia had been fighting a long and costly war, and Russia was winning. The great enemy was the kingdom of Prussia. But Peter adored Prussia. He worshipped its king. So Peter stopped the war and handed back everything Russia had won. The Russian soldiers were furious. They had bled and died for victory, and now their own emperor had thrown it all away. Peter insulted the army. He insulted the church. He insulted the proud noble families of Russia. He even threatened Catherine herself, his own wife. With every passing week he made new enemies. And he never once noticed that the most dangerous enemy of all was sitting quietly beside him at the dinner table. Catherine saw her moment. After years of waiting, after years of watching and learning and listening, the hour had finally come. And she was ready. She had powerful friends. Officers in the army respected her. The royal guards admired her. She had earned their loyalty through patience, charm, and a sharp and tireless mind. So in the summer of 1762, only a few months after Peter became emperor, Catherine acted. She had powerful friends. Officers in the army respected her. The royal guards admired her. She had earned their loyalty through patience, charm, and a sharp and tireless mind. So in the summer of 1762, only a few months after Peter became emperor, Catherine acted. If Catherine could learn an entire new language to change her destiny, then so can you. Every new word you learn is a small victory. Every story you finish is a door swinging open. Subscribe to Storyline English for more relaxing stories from history, told in clear and gentle English. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and tell us in the comments below whose story you would like to hear next. Keep listening. Keep learning. And never, ever give up. If Catherine could learn an entire new language to change her destiny, then so can you. Every new word you learn is a small victory. Every story you finish is a door swinging open. Subscribe to Storyline English for more relaxing stories from history, told in clear and gentle English. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and tell us in the comments below whose story you would like to hear next. Keep listening. Keep learning. And never, ever give up.